Good afternoon, one and all. The sparkle of the fire is the witness of your worth. The silent fluence of the water is the witness of your softness. The rising of the sun in the east and setting of the sun in the west is the witness of his perfection. I, Dr. Preeta George, is privileged and indebted to the Department of Physics for entrusting me the pleasant task of hosting this national level webinar. On behalf of the Department of Physics, Faculty of Humanities and Science, Adayalampattu Phase 2 campus of Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, feels extremely delighted to welcome you all to the national level webinar on Insight of Intermolecular Interactions, a perspective approach by physical acoustics. The entire universe is made up of molecules. The biological structures like DNA, protein, cell, all depends upon the molecules. Neurotransmitters like epinephrine are pretty simple molecules, but without that, our nervous system could not work. Linus Pauling once said, life is a relationship between the molecules. Our knowledge of how molecules behave allows us to push the boundaries right from the research to the biological targets, designing the drugs, creation of novel supramolecular assemblies, and much more. Why do molecules matter? How do atoms and molecules behave? This session will enlighten us to unravel the origin of intermolecular interactions, its types, and its importance. Let me invite a person who had always been with us, and her presence is always a moral boost for us. Our dear head of the Department of Physics, Dr. MVL Kumari, to welcome this august gathering.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm audible. Very good afternoon to one and all present here. First of all, I would like to acknowledge with gratitude our Honorable President Sir for giving opportunity to conduct this event. I welcome our Joint Registrar, Phase 2 Campus HNS, Dr. M. Prabhu Sir. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to our Dean, Admin, Phase 2 Campus, Dr. K. Senthil Kumar Sir, and Dean, Academics, Phase 2 Campus, Dr. A.R. Arunachalam Sir, for the support and encouragement provided. I would like to extend a special welcome to our speaker, Dr. R. Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, New College, who will be addressing us shortly on intermolecular interaction and approach by physical acoustics. I also welcome all the faculties and technical team. Last but not least, I welcome the students community for today's session. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's time to invite an indomitable spirit, a source of motivation, our Dean Academics, Dr. A.R. Arunachalam, to deliver the felicitation address.
So very good afternoon to one and all connected here. So on behalf of Dr. MGR Educational Research Institute, Adayalampattu Phase 2 campus, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar on insight of intermolecular interactions, perspective approach by physical acoustics, which has been organized by Department of Physics. First of all, we wholeheartedly thank our Honorable President, Engineer A.C. Arun Kumar Sir, for his constant support and encouragement and motivation rendered towards us. And we are very much grateful to him for his kind approval today to conduct this one-day national level webinar, which is going live now. So next, I would like to congratulate the Department of Physics for taking enormous efforts towards conducting a lot of online events. So first of all, I would like to appreciate the head of the department, Dr. MBL Kumari ma'am, along with all the other faculty members who are coordinating this event successfully, starting with Dr. Preeta Mary George ma'am, and then Dr. N. Swarnalata ma'am, and Dr. J.P. Suchitra ma'am, and Dr. A. Kavirasi ma'am, and then as well as the technical support which has been provided by Mr. Ganesh Prabhu, System Admin. So it's a whole team effort who are coordinating and organizing this event successfully. Next, I would like to welcome the speaker for today's session, Dr. R. Kumar, who's an assistant professor in the Department of Physics from New College, Chennai. So thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation to take this wonderful session. I think your knowledge, experience will reach a lot of people who are watching this program live. And also, we are thankful to you you're spending your valuable time with us. Sharing your knowledge. So, on behalf of the university, I once again welcome you to this wonderful session. So, I am also looking forward to your interesting session. Next, I would like to thank, appreciate, and welcome all the participants for showing your interest. Especially, I think the success of a program depends upon two entities. One is the speaker of the particular session, as well as the other component, or maybe the other entity is the audience, or maybe the participants who are attending these kind of events. So at this moment of time, I would like to appreciate all the participants, especially for registering for this wonderful webinar and attending this event live. So definitely this session is going to be an interesting session. So on behalf of the university, I once again welcome the speaker of today's session, as well as the participants also who are attending this program live. So I wish this event a grand success, and I also once again congratulate the department for taking enormous efforts towards conducting a lot of online activities. So I thank the department for inviting me to talk a few words. So have a great session and have a great day too. Thank you all. So thank you all and congratulate the entire team. Thank you.
Thank you, Arunachalam sir. Now, it's time to invite Dr. N. Swarnalata to introduce the guest of the day, Dr. R. Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics from New College, Chennai.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Am I audible, ma'am? Okay. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Dr. N. Swarnalata, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Phase 2 Campus, Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute, University, Chennai. It's my immense pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Dr. R. Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, the New College, Chennai. Dr. Kumar completed his BSc and MSc Physics in Arulmigu Palaniyandavar College of Arts and Culture, Palani. He completed his Master of Philosophy in Azhappa University, Karaikudi, in the field of polymers. He got doctorate in the University of Madras in the field of ultrasonics. He passed in SLET examination during the year 1999. Also, he passed NET examination in the years 1999 and 2000. Yes, he passed twice the NET examination. That's very inspirational. He started his teaching career in Akshaya Academy Matriculation Higher Secondary School in the year 1997. He worked as a lecturer in St. Joseph College, Trichy, during the year 2000 to 2001, and also in Bharathiar University from the year 2001 to 2002. He started working in New College since 2002. He successfully guided 2 PhD students and 3 MPhil students, and he guided 8 students for MSc projects. He is a recognized supervisor in the University of Madras and Bharathiar University for part-time PhD students. He successfully handled UGC minor research project. He published 38 papers in Scopus Indexed Journal, including International Journals 27. He attended 11 workshops, and he gave so many invited talks in conferences, national and international conferences. I once again invited Dr. Kumar for today's webinar. The stage is yours, sir, please.
We are happy to have you here, sir. Now the session is yours. We are waiting with full of evidence for acquaint ourselves on molecular interactions.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So let's share my screen, sir. Ganesh Babu, sir.
Yes, sir. You can share the screen, sir.
Screen share பண்ணலாமா?
பண்ணுங்க சார்.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Very good afternoon, one and all present here. Before I start, I request the audience to pray the Almighty kindly bring us the world back to its normalcy, all from COVID and other kind of calamities. Before I start my talk, I would like to thank the Dean of Research, Arunachalam sir, head of the department, Kumari ma'am, and my friend Dr. N. Swarnalata and other faculties for inviting me as a resource person for the one-day national webinar. My talk on the present day is a brief idea about intermolecular interactions, how these interactions can be predicted by the method of acoustics. Let me straight away go to the presentation. Outright of my talk, I have already told you I'm not going to so deep into the research part. I am going to only touch upon what are the basics we have learned from the 11th standard onwards. 11th standard you might have studied about the waves and oscillations. 12th standard you might have studied about the electrostatics. So those basic ideas we are going to apply for knowing the physical acoustic concepts and what are the different type of molecular interactions and why we have to go for the intermolecular interaction as one of the madams in the beginning told. What is the significance of intermolecular interactions and why we need to concentrate on the liquid mixtures. This is basically a liquid state physics I'm going to deal with. And one among the techniques to detect the intermolecular interaction in the liquid mixtures is ultrasonic technique. And what are the basics of ultrasonic technique? And apart from that, we need always a confirmational technique. We are applying the theoretical density functional theory method to detect the type of existing interaction using Gaussian software. And the concluding remark. You know what is spectroscopy? The spectroscopy means interaction of electromagnetic radiation with matter. So electromagnetic wave, you know that it doesn't require any media, but when it is passing through media, it takes away the property of the medium. So we get some information about the medium through the arriving the outcoming electromagnetic waves. That is what we call a spectra. Similarly, here we are allowing acoustic waves, the longitudinal sound waves, through material medium, and it interacts with the material medium. And by analyzing the output of the acoustic wave, we can get some information about the existing interaction or the property of the medium. Basically, it gives you about the physicochemical property based on the intermolecular interaction. So while propagating through the medium, the acoustic wave can interact with the lattice vibrations, thermal lattice vibrations, we call it phonons, the photons, the electrons or ions in the lattice, and sometimes the magnetic excitons in the case of ferromagnetic material. The reason for studying the intermolecular interaction is that is determining in the case of liquid mixtures the physicochemical behavior and thereby influencing the wave propagation through the medium. The speed of sound is being influenced by the intermolecular interaction. And these interactions in liquid mixtures is having more complexity because it is neither in a rarefied manner or gaseous phase, or it is not in a systematic manner as you are looking into the crystalline structure. There is a periodicity. So that kind of homogeneity is not existing in liquid system. So that it is very difficult to apply the theory of the kinetic theory of gases for such as gas molecules, or their interactions are very weak comparing to the solid state materials. So neither of the two possible models, either the gas or the crystalline models, can be applied to the liquid mixtures without any limitations. We have to put some approximations to deal with the liquid system. So what is the complexity? Here I have shown a diagram for a pure liquid, the liquid water. Here I have shown a two-dimensional diagram of the 3D structure of water molecule. You can look into that. There are crystalline nature at some points. You can see ordered region, crystalline nature, and there are some gaseous phases. There are few water molecules which are free without any interaction, and other complexities are there. There are water molecules trapped inside a gauge-like structure. There are broken gauge. These are all some voids existing in the system. So, such a non-homogeneous region of thing, and this is a space-time variation also. At a later time, if you look at that, the system will be looking in a different manner. So, a non-homogeneous, or what we can say, it is a heterogeneous nature of the system. This is only for a pure liquid, I'm telling. If suppose you are allowing another material, either a solute or another solvent inside of the system, how can you look into the same system will be having more complexity. So due to this higher degree of complexity of interactions, the structure of liquid, in contrast to that of gases and solids, is least known of all aggregation states. Therefore, the experimental and theoretical examination has to be applied to study the structure of liquids, and which is the most difficult task. So we are dealing with variety of parameters to identify the specific type of interactions. So before I go to the type of waves we are going to apply, we need to know about the basics of mechanical wave. You know that mechanical wave is otherwise called material wave, which needs a medium for its propagation, which is moving in the form of simple harmonic motion of particles in the medium. It carries the energy, momentum, and phase, but not the medium, particle of the medium from one point to another point. And what is the required property of the media is, for its propagation, we need a medium which is possessing either which should possess elastic as well as the property of inertia. So among the mechanical waves, there is we call it as a sonic wave. This is giving you the region of frequency starting from infrasonics to hypersonic. Infrasonic is less than 20 hertz, we know that. Sonic is audible range starting from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. The wavelength of the wave can be calculated using the relation velocity equal to frequency into wavelength. If you calculate the wavelength, that comes around 17 millimeter to 17 meter, that is the audible range. Beyond 20,000, we call it as ultrasonics. It goes from 20,000 hertz to nearly 100 crores of hertz frequency, and beyond that, you can call it as hypersonic. And here we are using ultrasonic wave for determining the intermolecular interactions, starting from 1 megahertz to 10 megahertz, the variable frequency range. There are two instruments we have. One is variable frequency from 1 to 10 hertz. Other instrument is fixed frequency of 1, 2, or 5 megahertz. And we are applying 2 megahertz frequency for detection of intermolecular interaction. And remember, this frequency has been estimated for greater optimum level of minimizing the energy losses. And what are the energy losses when the wave propagates through a medium? There are angular divergence, attenuation, that is losing the energy with the distance. It cannot travel longer distances if you have the frequency less. And this is the reason why we are choosing female voice for public announcement, because female voice is having high pitch and more clarity. It can travel longer distance and the clarity of voice will be there. That is why the female voice are preferred for that attenuation point. Then dispersion, the 2 megahertz ultrasonic frequency is having less dispersive nature. Scattering and diffraction, you can see all of the factors are depending on the wavelength. As far as the ultrasonic wave is concerned, the wavelength is very smaller, so you can have the losses almost minimum in this case. As far as the ultrasonic is concerned, it finds a lot of applications. One of the major applications in the solid material, we have the non-destructive testing methods. Ultrasound scan in medical diagnostic system, they are using it for physiotherapy, soothing effect to produce some ortho problems. And apart from that, one of the important major contribution to the medical system is finding the growth of a baby in the womb of a mother. And as far as the liquid system is concerned, we have different variety of liquid system: polymer liquids, surfactants, binary and ternary liquid mixtures of organic as well as biological, pharmaceutical materials. So all kind of things, and we are concentrating on the binary liquid systems and ternary liquid systems of organic as well as pharmaceutical materials. When you come into the picture of liquid mixtures, you have variety of uh, systems can be dealt with. Broadly, they can be classified into aqueous and non-aqueous. And why need to study the liquid mixtures? Instead of going for pure solvents, we can go for mixed solvents. The physicochemical behavior is drastically changing. One good example is the solution of gas, formaldehyde in water, nearly 40% of aqueous solution of formaldehyde. The property is entirely different. If you put a dead cell or dead material on water or formaldehyde gas for a long time, you cannot retrieve the material. But if the same combined at 40%, you will be getting a peculiar property of a material. What about 916 kdm? Who fixed the ratio? How that material property came? They found out that having good ductility, malleability process for that material. So mixing material, that composite material in solids as well as liquid system in the liquid mixtures in the liquid system, is try to finding a very peculiar behavior of the material, the physico-chemical behavior. That's what we are telling. Physico-chemical behavior for liquid system. By combining in a particular ratio, we get a drastically varying property. So aqua regia is another example for the liquid system, consisting of hydrochloric acid and nitric acid in 3:1 ratio, which can dissolve noble metals. Correct. And why that ratio? How come that ratio comes 3:1? If you mix it in other ratio, will it be the same property you get? No. So there is an optimization for any material, and finding that optimization is very, very important. And I'll tell you about the liquid system later. So here we have concentrating on different solutions, different type of uh, material dissolved in different type of solvents. You see the electrolytic solution, organic liquid mixtures, polymeric solution. As I have already told this, nowadays the nanofluids and ionic liquid systems are coming into picture. Ionic liquids for green chemistry synthesis. These are all also applied for many industries. Can be not only chemical, the pharmaceutical industry is also applying for optimization of other materials. Now, what about the complexity? You are telling complexity, complexity. What type of complexity? I told you already that pure liquid is existing with different phases. The non-homogeneity we have seen. But when you mix another system into the pure system of one material, if you talk about the binary system, you have that AA interaction, BB interaction, AB interaction, just like the binary system is having. I have shown a table here. You can see based on the polarity of the molecules, the nature of interaction, how it exists, you can easily find out. The polarity, we are going to deal about what is non-polar and polar molecules. You have already known about this in the 11th and 12th standard chemistry. But anyhow, the polarity, we have dipoles. You might have studied in the electrostatics 12th standard. Two charges separated by a small distance. If you consider sodium and chloride molecule, it forms ions by means of complete transfer of electron from sodium to chlorine. We are going to see that type of bonding here. So that there is a separation between the two charges, we call it as a bond pair. So it exhibits some dipole nature, and it will be exhibiting a electric field. So when another particle or another molecule comes into this electric field, it will be getting influenced. So there will be a mutual interaction, and we are talking about only the mutual interaction based on some based on the charge distribution. Electron is the basic responsible factor for all these things. We are going to see that one. When you go for beyond binary, if you go for multi-component system, what will happen? The multi-component liquid mixture, say for example, if you take ternary system, 3 liquids, the complexity will be slightly increasing. How many type of interactions? AA, B, AA, the molecule A with A, the molecule B with B, molecule C with C, and then AB, AC, BC. These are all binary interactions. based on the polarity, based on their property, polarizability. There are different factors which involves in the interaction. Then the cluster of A with B, AA interaction, the AA molecule can interact with B also. The gauge of A may also interact with B. The gauge of B may also interact with A. It can be getting trapped. Okay, so like that you can, apart from ABC, what you are expecting, what you are going to expect ultimately is what is the interaction between A, B, C. These are all the three molecules I have added. I want to know the ABC interaction, but you will be ending up with a lot of complexities. Not only ABC interaction. So you have to try to visualize the existing interactions inside the liquid system, which is very complex. That's what the idea behind this. And we are trying to apply. That is why not only ultrasonic. Ultrasonic is giving you the cumulative result of all the interactions. We have to be able to categorize them one by one. What we can do? We have to go for a variety of parameters. Apart from the measured values, we have to go for calculations, and we have to calculate different parameters based on the structure, based on the interactions, based on other parameters. Then we have to categorize them, we have to analyze it very closely, and we have to come up with a conclusion. Before coming to conclusion, we have to go for confirmation. That confirmation we are doing it nowadays with the Gaussian software, which is very, very useful. We need not go to the laboratory. We can use by means of computers. The Gaussian software gives you the three-dimensional picture of the existing interaction, but you have to apply the complexity again. More number of molecules, how they interact. One good example I have given here is internal system. Suppose you are having A, B, C. There are three. One is solvent, the other may be solutes, solid solutes, or probably all the three are liquid. Say for example, if you take A liquid, B liquid, C liquid, if you are mixing A and B, then adding to C, the behavior of that particular liquid system may be different in some cases, not in all cases. I'm telling some cases or sometimes. If you're adding A and C first, then adding to C, B second. Can you understand what I'm telling? Adding liquid C, the solute 2, with a mixture of A and B. Liquid A, either with the liquid B or it may be a solid solute. So A and B is initially mixed, then C is added to it. This liquid system will behave entirely in a different manner sometimes when you add B with A and C. This is also possible. Because in chemistry, there is a concept called solubility parameter. When you want to try to enhance the solubility of some system, we will be adding a kind of catalytic material which can enhance the solubility. The whole solution must consist of the catalyst first. Then you have to add the material, solute material for enhancing the solubility. And that is the case that I'm going to deal at the end of the session. When you go into the intermolecular interaction, before that, we need to know what is this. You know the basic idea. In your lower standard, you have studied about the ionic bonding and covalent bonding. These are all the basic responsible interactions between two atoms forming the molecule, the primary structure of molecule. Now, our aim is not the formation of molecule. Our aim is to how these two molecules interact with each other. So, a complete transfer of electron from one atom to another atom, we call it as ionic bonding. The cation becomes smaller and anion becomes slightly bigger in size. You can see the size variations and anion cation. In the covalent bond, there is a mutual sharing of electron, making that octet principle, noble gas configuration. Sometimes this non-polar, the covalent bond, sometimes it may be non-polar. There will be a convergence of plus and minus at one point. So there is no separation between the positive and the negative charge of the system. So the dipole moment will be zero. And some of the cases it can be slightly separated, and it can exhibit the polar nature as shown here. So these are all we are not going to deal with the metallic bonding here, but we need to know what is the basic structure of these things. And these two, sometimes you can see the polar and non-polar nature of this, because that is responsible for the intermolecular interaction. Intermolecular interactions are responsible for the secondary structure. Primary structure means if you consider a water molecule, the oxygen is at the center and the hydrogen are at the two ends. and which is slightly bent in around 104.5 degree because of the overlapping of orbitals. But when you have the interaction of water molecule with another molecule, the angle gets slightly enhanced. Okay, and that we call it as the structural change of the uh, molecule because of intermolecular interaction, and that is what we call the secondary structure. So if water exists at 104.5 degree, it will be exhibiting some gaseous phase also. But if it is exhibiting that 120 around, then only you can have the liquid state further. Okay, because it is having hydrogen bond. One water molecule, you might have seen in the first picture I have shown. One water molecule is having four hydrogen bonds with the four different water molecules. And these intermolecular interactions are responsible for the basis of life. As Madam told in the beginning, DNA and RNA structure, you have the double helical structure for that. Without the double helical structure, it cannot carry the heredity from one generation to the next generation. If it is a single stranded form or it is a ribbon-like structure, it won't carry that. So that is responsible for the intramolecular interactions that we are going to see later. And before that, we have the type of interactions. What are the type of interactions? They are broadly categorized into hydrogen bond and van der Waals interactions. And these are all called, in general, as non-covalent interactions. Okay, the hydrogen bonding and other kind of van der Waals interactions. There are weak interactions. The energy range is differing from one to the other. Among the intermolecular interactions, the hydrogen bond is the strongest. Okay. In the primary bonding, covalent bonding is the strongest. You might have studied about the energy range between 3 electron volt to 8 electron volt. But whereas in the case of ionic bond, the energy range is varying from 4 to 6 electron volt. Okay. And there are certain cases where you have covalent bond is weaker than ionic bond, but the range of energy, if you consider, the covalent bond is the strongest. Apart from that, the other interactions we call it as non-covalent in general terms. So what are the different type of van der Waals interactions? Before going to discuss about hydrogen bonding, let me give a brief outline of this. There is an energy calculation based on the electrostatic idea, but I'm not going to calculation of energies here. I'm going to give you a brief idea about what are the different type of intermolecular interactions. This is very important. You need to know how this is nothing but the interaction between people in the society. Okay, when you talk about the people, there is a primary structure for people. You have a head at the top, and then there is a body. Then on the right and left, you have two hands, and the bottom two legs. If the structure is slightly different, you become called as alien, correct? So there is a basic structure, but here the problem is the structure is identical. Almost all the human beings are identical. You think about that system. A society with a movie like Ender and the climax, you might have seen all of the robots are identical. You can't find out the difference. So such a system is exhibiting how they are interacting based on the electronic cloud. They overlap. They can interact. You can see when sodium chloride is dissolved in water. Okay, the sodium ion and chlorine ion. This is cation and anion. They are surrounded by water molecule. You can see that the charge on the negative charge on the oxygen atom is getting attracted by the cation. So here you can see that the animation I have shown here, how this cation is getting attracted by this water molecule is getting attracted by the cation. And similarly, the chlorine, which is having a larger affinity to the electron, which is having negative sign, and it attracts the slightly positive hydrogen atom towards it. So this is what we call the ion dipole interaction. I have a electrolytic solution where you have a dissolved system is consisting of anion and cation, and the solute molecule is interacting with the solvent molecule in this manner. This is what we call the electrolytic solution can exhibit this kind of interactions. Dipole, I have shown one pure liquid hydrochloric acid, H plus Cl minus, they forms a bond, and when it comes nearer, there are two ways. One is along the axis it can interact, otherwise it get toppled and it can kept over the one over the other. There is a lateral interaction. This is along the axis interaction. There is a lateral interaction. You can find the chlorine can interact with hydrogen here, and the hydrogen can interact with chlorine. So these kind of interaction, what we call, this is dipole. You know that the positive and negative charge separated by a small distance is what we call dipole. And there is an interaction of dipole with another dipole. This is what we call dipole-dipole interaction. This kind of thing you can see in water and other liquids. We call this kind of interaction is shown many polar liquids. Okay. And the third thing is dipole-induced dipole. Supposing you are mixing a polar liquid with a non-polar system. Here they have shown a gaseous phase or oxygen as a gaseous molecule interacting with water, or hydrochloric acid interacting with the organ. What happens is the charge redistribution takes place because of the dipole electric field of this polar molecule. And that's what here you can see. Here I have shown an ion dipole interaction actually. You can see that for negative ion comes here and it influences the positive getting attracted towards it. You see that the positive side is somewhat sharper than the negative side. Negative side is bigger. I told you that cation and anion size. Cation is slightly lesser in size. So you have that. This kind of influence what we call induced dipole. Okay. When a dipole comes to a non-polar molecule, non-polar you can see the spheroidal shape. There is no charge because the positive and negative overlaps each other. Okay, so that is the case. Maybe you have here it is ion dipole interaction, ion induced dipole interaction. Similar to that, dipole induced dipole interaction can also be shown like this. And last one is instantaneous. This is what sometimes called London dispersion interaction. Instantaneous dipole and induced dipole. When the molecule comes, you can have an instantaneous dipole that forms in one of the molecules, and that in turn develops an induced dipole moment inside the another molecule. So based on that, we have this is a very weak interaction. Okay, when non-polar system, the homonuclear such as H2 molecule, O2 molecule, N2 molecule, or carbon dioxide, CO2, on either side you have dipoles, but the dipole getting cancelled, the net dipole moment will be zero for that. That is a non-polar molecule. But if you bring it to the another system, what will happen because of the electron distribution? There will be a reorientation of the net charge, slightly getting displaced. But the dipole moment induced is very feeble, very minimum. It is measured in debye unit. You know that for a sodium and chlorine molecule, probably the separation between them, the bond length may be around 1 angstroms, 1 or 1.2, not more than 2 angstrom. If you take it as averagely 1 angstrom, that is 10 power minus 10, and then the charge on each ion is 1 electronic charge, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. If you multiply the two, it comes around 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 29 coulomb meter. This is the dipole moment, very feeble quantity. Okay. But since the dipole moment of the molecules are very feeble, we measured it in terms of debye units. Okay. This is what the interactions we have to find out in liquid mixtures. All type of interaction will be exhibited by the liquid system. If you dissolve one liquid in another liquid, or if you dissolve one solute in another solvent, these type of interactions will be there. You have to summarize with the parameters, you have to sit and analyze with the molecules and their dipole moment, their polarizability. So what else? Everything you have to keep into consideration, and you have to come to the final conclusion on the picture of a liquid system. Very bad. This is one among the strongest interactions as far as the liquid system is concerned. The intermolecular interaction or intermolecular interaction can be by the hydrogen bond. The hydrogen bond formation, you know, is basic chemistry you have already studied in your lower standard. There is a lone pair, an electron-rich donor atom, and there is an antibonding molecular orbital of a hydrogen atom, which is in with covalent border with another electronegative atom. So there is a transfer of this charge, attraction between them. Okay, and you have that donor atoms, electronegative atoms, or nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. All of them are, I think, second row elements, I think. So hydrogen bond can be intramolecular. You can see that this is a single molecule I have shown here, where within the molecule itself there is a bonding. There is an intramolecular hydrogen bonding, and this molecule is interacting with another molecule, and that is what we call intermolecular hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen bond can be intramolecular and intermolecular, and here this double helical structure is because of the intramolecular interaction. Okay, so Because of that influence, this secondary structure is being formed. The intramolecular hydrogen bonding is responsible for the secondary structure, and this is what I told you, the molecular basis of life. Okay. So secondary interactions, because these are all the secondary interactions that determine the state of matter, whether it is in liquid state or gaseous state. Okay, so identifying the secondary interactions is very important to find out the nature of the system. So these are all the basic ideas of why we have gone for liquid system, why we have gone for intermolecular interactions, what is the reason for choosing physical acoustics. Other techniques are there. Instead, I'm talking about my own research field. That's why I'm talking about the physical acoustics. And other techniques we have used as a confirmation. Spectroscopic technique is there, ultraviolet spectroscope, mm, infrared spectroscopy. All these things are there. But here, to give you an idea about, I've already told you, I'm going to touch upon the basics of my research work, not the entire research into picture now. What I have done, one of the work carried out by my research candidate, who happened to be my colleague. I'm going to explain that phenomenon here, that idea here. Okay? So this is an acoustical investigation on the interactions of an antibiotic, cefotaxime, with the paracetamol. Paracetamol, you know, that frozen and other material we are taking mainly for anti analgesic, it's an analgesic medicine for fever we take that. And we are applying that polarizable continuum model. I told you the deep density functional theory, Gaussian software we have used, and we have tried to find out the solvation energy of that system. This is basically on a tertiary system using water as the solvent. These two as solutes A and B. So potassium acid is taken as a solute A, and paracetamol is taken as solute B. Okay. So what is the basic idea behind that? Before that, what are the instruments we have applied? An ultrasonic interferometer, I told you this is operating at 2 megahertz frequency. Okay. This is a very simple equipment which can measure the velocity up to 0.2 meter per second accuracy. If you want to have more accuracy, nowadays another instrument, DSA Anton for 5000 is available, but the cost of the equipment is quite high, and maintenance is also very high. So maintaining such instrument, because the cost of the equipment is nearly 30 lakhs. Now this instrument costs nearly 1 lakh. Okay. So maintaining that particular instrument, and it has to run for 24 hours. Those things at all in college research activities, it is not possible. And we are using a 10 ml specific gravity bottle and electronic balance. Actually, this is 0.1 milligram accuracy. This is 10 to the power minus 7 kilogram. Such an instrument we have to apply, and we have to maintain the temperature. Whatever the measurement we have to make, we have to maintain the temperature, and we have a thermostatic water pot which maintains the temperature for 0.1 Kelvin accuracy. Okay, the accuracy, if you want to more, then you have to pay more. That is the thing. And with the available resources, we are doing the research in the college level research. We are publishing some nice papers also on this. So we are using the specific gravity bottle, 10 ml specific gravity bottle, and the electronic balance for measurement of density. And this is a simple glassware, what we call Oswald viscometer. Using these two things, we can measure the viscosity of the liquid also. For that, we are using a stopwatch with accuracy of 0.01 second. A digital stopwatch we can apply. Nowadays, that is available in our mobile phone also. We need not go for the stopwatch. But the precise time management must be there. The time has to be started at point A. It has to be exactly stop at B. So what is the time flow for this particular volume of liquid? You have to calculate very precisely. And all these instruments we have to standardize with some liquids, some known liquids. We are using triple distilled water for standardizing this instrument. Okay. And as I have already mentioned, whatever the measurement you make, you have to maintain precisely the temperature. And using these measured parameters, apart from that, we can calculate the pH of the solution, the refractive index using Abe's refractometer. Again, you can maintain the temperature in that, and you can measure the refractive index. So, variety of physical parameters can be measured for uh, pure solution as well as the liquid mixtures. Because the reason being that you have to measure the pure solution and the liquid mixtures, then only you can find how much it gets deviated from the pure system. For that reason, you have to measure all the parameters. And using those parameters, we can calculate some of the structure related parameters and interaction related parameters. So these are all some of the structure related parameters: adiabatic compressibility, free length, molecular molar volume. We use this. See, you can see that one good example. This adiabatic compressibility, where you have learned this, you have learned in the 11th standard. You might have studied about the Newton's formula and Laplace correction for the speed of sound in a medium. In that, you just go and refer again your 11th standard book. You have studied about the velocity of sound in a medium is given by root of k by rho. The k is the bulk modulus. Root of k by rho is velocity u. If you square it, u square, you get k by rho. Or the bulk modulus k can be given as u square by rho. Sorry, u square into rho. The bulk modulus is square of the velocity into density of the medium. And reciprocating the bulk modulus is what we call compressibility. And you know that Laplace has given that when sound wave propagating through medium, it is not an isothermal process, it is an adiabatic process. So that simple idea we apply to find out the ultrasonic velocity and density of the particular liquid mixture. The ultrasonic velocity in the medium is taken to be to calculate the adiabatic compressibility of the medium. If the system is more compressible, what does it mean? It is having emptiness, void is there. So the system is getting rarefied. If the interaction is more, the molecules come closer, so the compressibility will become less. The volume is lesser, compressibility is very less. That means the most interacting system, because of that the compactness of the system can be identified. So this simple parameter can give you based on the system whether it is compact or rarefied. Like that we can analyze all the parameters to come into a final conclusion of the liquid system or the final picture of the liquid system. Similarly, internal pressure. This one is we have applied some approximation for the liquid system, and we applied the concept of kinetic theory of gases. You know, the kinetic theory of gases is for the pressure exerted by a gas molecule. In the same way, Surya Narayan and et al. They have applied this idea. They found out the internal pressure of liquid system. Okay, I have already told you in the beginning. Either the laws of solid state physics or the laws of kinetic theory of gases cannot be applied directly into it without putting some approximation. So based on some approximation, they derived and they have obtained these equations. So similar to that, we can measure nearly 70 such parameters, not only 2 or 3 or few, 10 or 12. 70 parameters we can calculate so that we can have a clear view of what I have shown in the beginning, the two-dimensional picture of a 3D structure of a liquid system can be predicted. Okay, it is not exactly predicted. Now, in our research, we have did a simple experiment that cefotaxime acid is a poorly soluble antibiotic. This poorly soluble antibiotic is effective antibiotic. As far as the literature is concerned, it is effectively replacing the amoxicillin. Amoxicillin, we are using it for bacterial infection related to cold and other things. We have to take 5 days of amoxicillin with 3 doses of 500 milligram each day. So 15 doses is one course. But the cefotaxime acid, which is prescribed for kids nowadays, one of the latest antibiotics comes in the market. This is a third generation cephalosporin antibiotic. We are using it for increasing its solubility because it is replacing the amoxicillin 5 days dosage into 3 days dosage, and it is only 2 doses per day of 200 milligram, not 500 milligram. So it effectively replaces that. When you reduce this antibiotic consumption, the antibiotic resistivity will getting reduced. Apart from that, the side effects of the antibiotic will also be getting reduced. 500 milligram to 200 milligram. You just calculate that 500 into 15 doses. Now 200 into 6 doses. So cost effective. To think about the mass production of material, the cost, it is very cost effective, correct? But instead of giving 200, if you give it 100 milligram, still the cost effective. The cost is very less. 50% the cost will be getting reduced in the mass production. Apart from that, its side effects and other complications we can avoid, correct? The reason is that ceftriaxone, proxetine is the actual antibiotic. When it consumed and it goes into our intestine, it becomes ceftriaxone acid. So what the product we have taken is ultimately how it is available in the intestine. That product we have taken and we have done the research. So we want to enhance the solubility of this antibiotic so that its bioavailability can be enhanced. And when going to the literature, we have found out that this antibiotic can be dissolved in water and effectively when you include urea related material. Urea inclusion has enhanced the bioavailability of this material. We found that literature, and based on the discussion with my guide supervisor, Dr. V. Kannappan, he has insisted me to go for paracetamol because the paracetamol structure is similar to the structure of urea. So we tried that, and we found out the bioavailability, the solubility has been enhanced twice. Here we did a mistake. What actually I did is I added the paracetamol and ceftriaxone acid into water, but I found out that it is not getting dissolved. That is, the antibiotic is not getting dissolved. See, we have taken 20 milligram of water, 20 milligram of antibiotic in 100 ml of water. The 20 milligram took nearly 1 day to getting dissolved into 100 ml of water after gentle stirring. But we have made solutions with paracetamol dissolved first in water. Then I tried to add ceftriaxone acid. Initially, I added both the solutes together with water. It is not getting dissolved. But now the whole solution is paracetamol solution. I tried to add the antibiotic, and we found out the solubility has been enhanced twice. Nearly 40 milligram getting dissolved, and gradually we added and we tried the ultrasonic parameter. We found out maximum of 100:8 in that ratio. 100 milligram of paracetamol with 8 milligram of ceftriaxone acid. The parameter goes almost constant. Not only this parameter I am telling, the rest of the parameters, if I take up to this 100:8, that 100:8 means usually we take 500 milligram paracetamol. So maximum of 40 milligram can be taken if you multiply 5 times this. So it has been enhanced, and this solubility parameter we studied through ultrasonic parameter and found out the 500 milligram has been enhancing the solubility of the ceftriaxone nearly double the value. Okay, and this is under investigation in the biochemistry level because what we have done is a in vitro study, because laboratory study we have to do it in the in vivo study. Then we have to come to conclusion, and we did the theoretical calculation as I have already told you. The Gaussian software we have applied and we tried to find out the optimized. This is a 3-dimensional structure of the paracetamol, and this is what the antibiotic we have taken, ceftriaxone acid. Nearly 43 atoms are there. Based on the charge distribution, they have arranged themselves like this. This is only for a individual molecule, but this is not taken for a cluster. If you take for the entire cluster, the structure may be slightly different. There may be stretching of molecules because of the interaction with the neighboring molecules. The angles and bond length may be getting slightly altered. And here I have shown the same ceftriaxone acid with some intramolecular interaction. You can see that there is an intramolecular interaction between these two atoms as well as this. There's a very light dotted line I have shown here. So this itself makes the molecule slightly twisted, correct? It is not planar. Here you can see the benzene ring somewhat planar. It's kind of a chair-like structure. So all these things you need to analyze, and you have to find out the final conclusion. What are the various type of interactions present? Uh, See, dispersion interaction, London dispersion interaction is always existing, whatever the liquid system may be. But compared to other liquid system, other interactions, dispersion may be ignored sometimes. Okay, but prominent is hydrogen bonding, intermolecular and intermolecular hydrogen bonding. That energy may suppress the other forms of energy. Okay, and these are all the different type of energies calculated for the solubility parameter. Ultimately, we have to find out the free energy of solution for that, and we found out that the mutual solubility of both the acid cefotaxime and paracetamol being enhanced by that. What is the conclusion we arrive at this? Not only paracetamol enhances the solubility of cefotaxime acid, once cefotaxime acid getting dissolved into water, it also makes the paracetamol getting dissolved more. Okay, and these are all some of the calculations we did, and this is what the final conclusion we arrive at. Not only this is done at room temperature, we have also done it at because slightly we call it the physiological temperature, 37 and 40 degree. 37 degree is human body's normal temperature. 40 degree is the slightly in feverish condition. So all these things we did, and we tried it. In all the three temperatures, room temperature as well as the physiological temperature, the enhancement of the solubility as well as the interaction seems to be stronger because they have designed in that manner. Okay, the antibiotics are designed for operating at physiological temperature and slightly elevated temperature. So we found out that 40 milligram and 500 milligram is the optimum level. Because the 500 we have chosen is for the normal dosage of paracetamol. So for that we found out 40 milligram can be soluble, and both thermodynamically feasible. That's what I told you, and mutual enhancement of solubility. Both of them can enhance one another, and this study is helpful in the reduction of drug usage. The cost will be greatly reduced because we have found out this particular idea from a journal called Pharmacoeconomic Journal. So how we have to economically use the pharmaceutical samples. Okay, the cost effective will be it's very cost effective if you arrive at the correct result. And it is also reduce the antibiotic resistance or other side effects of antibiotic in our body, because it has to be retained in our body, means later stages if you use the same antibiotic it will not be effective. And these findings were confirmed through the PCM study, and we tried other spectroscopic methods also to further investigations. It is going on, and I told you that it is also informed to the biochemistry lab people to make a in vivo study for that. Okay, so this is a brief idea about what the research we did, but the intermolecular interaction studies, if I have to discuss, I have to discuss what are the parameters we have taken and how we have analyzed them. Okay, so I stop with this. Before I conclude, these are all the books, bibliography I have referred. You can refer these books for more information on the ultrasonic point and the liquid solvent chemistry, solute and solvent chemistry. Okay, thank you. So as I already told you, electromagnetic spectrum, when it goes into a medium, it comes out with the property of the medium, what we call spectroscopy. The physical acoustics is also there. Acoustic wave passing through the medium, it comes out with the property of the medium. Similarly, whatever the good that you have taken from others, it has to come out with you. You be yourself. Don't imitate others. It has to come out with a good property from you. Thank you.
That was really an amazing talk on intermolecular interactions. Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. And you have covered you have given an excellent coverage on application of ultrasonics, liquid mixtures, types of interactions, and case studies. As you had told, like how people interact with the society, we could have understand how liquid mixtures interact and the types of interaction. It's time to hear from our audience. With your permission, I am handing over the session to Dr. J.P. Sujitra for Q&A.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session, sir. You have nicely explained about molecular interactions and physical acoustic, and also you have explained about solubility enhancement in drugs. Thank you, sir. On behalf of physics department, I will place some request to you to kindly answer some of the queries which are in the chat box. First question is, what is intermolecular forces? What intermolecular forces are present in methyl alcohol, sir? Hello.
Can you hear, ma'am? Can you hear,
Sir,
ma'am?
you can hear. Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Sir, what
Yeah,
forces are
in a methyl alcohol, you have a hydroxyl group. So obviously they will be self-associated with the hydrogen bonding. You have a electron releasing methyl group and alcohol group, OH group is there. So they will be mutually interacting with the what we call, they are called self-associated with the hydrogen bonding.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir. One more question, sir. How to the ground and excited state dipole moments from Gaussian software, sir? Any idea, sir?
Ground,
From Gaussian software,
Gaussian software.
sir.
I have a disturbance. Ground and excited state.
Yes, sir. Ground state and excited state. I will find out that using the Gaussian software.
Basically, Gaussian software, I'm not directly dealing with. I'm getting the help from my colleagues for that. Only the output we have taken. Only output results we taken from them, and we did the analysis. So that's
Okay,
what
sir.
I have to deal with it. Any
Okay,
other
sir.
query?
Thank you. Nothing, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Sujitra ma'am, for igniting this moderating session, and I thank Dr. Kumar for patiently answering our queries. We owe to Dr. Kumar for spending time with us and shedding your knowledge on intermolecular interactions. We really appreciate your sincere effort. We have a small token of appreciation here for you, and I request Mr. Ganesh Babu, our system admin, to display our certificate of appreciation. At the same time, I request Dr. Kumar to accept the same.
Thank you. Thank you.
The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt from heart. No program is successful and complete without thanksgiving. Let me invite Dr. Kaviyarasi to propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Preeta. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Dr. Kaviyarasi, Assistant Professor from Department of Physics. I am very humble and honored to be one giving vote of thanks for this program today. Gratitude is not in the words, but in the heart, which expresses it. With that note, on behalf of Department of Physics, first and foremost, I would like to express a deep sense of gratitude to our Honorable President for his unconditional support and encouragement. I acknowledge with gratitude Dr. M. Prabhu, Joint Registrar, HNDS Phase 2 Campus, and I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our Dean Administration, Dr. K. Sendil Kumar, and Dean Academics, Dr. A.R. Arnachalam, for their support and encouragement provided for conduction of this event. Mainly, I would like to acknowledge with gratitude the speaker of today's session, Dr. R. Kumar, for the excellent and in-depth detailing on insight of intermolecular interactions, a perspective approach by physical acoustics. Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful session. We are really fortunate enough to have you here today. I thank and extended my sincere thanks towards our head of the department, Dr. M.B.L. Kumari, for heading and leading us. Thank you, ma'am. Hence, I would like to register my sincere thanks towards the system administration, Dr. Ganesh Babu, for his uninterrupted technical support. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Preeta for the wonderful comparing for today's session, and Dr. N. Swarnalatha for giving her excellent introduction about the chief guest, and Dr. J. Sujitra for the questionnaire sessions. Thank you so much, everyone. As well as I thank each and every one of our Department of Physics for their wonderful cooperation for conducting this event. Thank you all very much. And I thank all the student participants as well the participants from outside for your engagement in participating in this. And thank you so much for your involvement in participating in this program. And once again, I thank each and every one of you for your wonderful participation. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaviyarasi ma'am. Kind attention of the participants. Kindly fill up the feedback link rolled out in the live chat to ensure your certificate of participation. And as said by one of the greatest philosophers of all time, Socrates, the only good is knowledge and the only evil is ignorance. Once again, I would like to thank all of you who were part of this webinar. Thank you all for joining with us, and stay tuned with us for our upcoming sessions too. Till then, it's bye from us. Thank you.
Dr. NGR Educational and Research Institute, University, Madurai, Chennai.